load of pensioners that, you know, some voted Labour, some didn't. But the anger out there is so high. They cannot believe what this government is doing. And as you said, the optics is terrible. They are living the high life. Keir Starmer has had more freebies than any other MP over the last 5 years.
Keir Starmer, who diligently creates the image of a decent man, secretly received expensive gifts from Ali while trying to convince us that we should save money and live modestly. The news anchor got tired of Starmer's hypocrisy and revealed the truth about our Prime Minister. He was furious.
After what he said in interviews and in Parliament, this is the biggest hypocrite in politics. It's such a bad look, and they are so out of touch with the normal people of this country. And I would have thought they would have given it a year or so, you know, before they decided to act like this. But it's after weeks. They've got no shame.
Keir Starmer is right that there is a difference between declaring gifts and corruption. However, he must understand that there is a significant difference between showing greed and the leadership he promised. Accepting expensive gifts gives the impression of greed, especially when they are received by a person who could have bought them himself. Starmer should have taken this into account with the example of Boris Johnson. Isn't there a distorted morality in the Labour Party that leads millions of pensioners to freeze to death this winter, while Keir Starmer spends thousands of pounds on stylish clothes for his wife? Regardless of whether the rules are followed or not, this creates an unpleasant impression and demonstrates a lack of understanding of what it might look like for millions of people who are forced to buy their own clothes and choose between food and heating. It's strange that millionaire Keir Starmer apparently needs a donor to buy glasses and clothes for his wife. Will he get help from Wahid Ali with fuel bills next time?
The optics of this are absolutely appalling. It gets worse by the day because more stuff comes out by the day. He said he's going to keep taking this. How can he stand before the... When that budget is delivered in October, how on earth can he stand next to that? Meanwhile, when times get tough in the Starmer household, he just goes, sorry, is that Lord Ali? Hi, can my wife get some more clothes from you, please? It's ridiculous.
Keir Starmer said that there was a hole in the public finances in the amount of £22 billion, which is £5 billion more than the Labour Party assumed when transferring power from the Conservatives. He blamed the Conservatives for this crisis and admitted that the future budget would be difficult. Labour promised that their measures would not affect vulnerable segments of the population, but a month after coming to power, they decided to cancel fuel subsidies for pensioners in winter. Labour also plans to raise indirect taxes, which will affect the wallets of all citizens. Starmer's rating has already suffered after his election victory. Perhaps he wants to take responsibility for unpleasant measures right away, but it is possible that he is just trying to prepare for more serious decisions in the future. After all, it is easier to gain the trust of the population than to bring it back. Starmer promises honesty and willingness to make difficult decisions. He assures me that it will be hard at first, but then it will get easier. However, his hypocrisy has already become apparent.
I took a microphone and a camera to a high street and I spoke to a load of pensioners that, you know, some voted Labour, some didn't. But the anger out there is so high. They cannot believe what this government is doing. And as you said, the optics is terrible. They are living the high life. Keir Starmer has had more freebies than any other MP over the last 5 years.
Many pensioners gathered outside the Parliament building in London, protesting against the abolition of the heating subsidy. They held placards with the words, "Don't make pensioners pay for a crisis they didn't cause and don't let us freeze." Pensioners are demanding that Keir Starmer return their benefits and not be cruel to vulnerable segments of the population. One of the retirees, thrilled by Starmer's decision, called the Jeremy Vine show and said his faith in the government was destroyed. He compared Starmer to the Conservative Party, arguing that both do not care about pensioners and are willing to sacrifice their lives for the sake of saving. He explained that he was not eligible for a pension loan and owned an average 2-bedroom house.
Also, the big problem is what is Lord Ali getting for this?
Exactly that.
No, we don't know, do we?
£575,000 he's donated to Labour MPs over the last 4 years. He hosts them late night, midnight pool parties at his Mayfair home with cabinet ministers. What is he getting?
Yeah, but I think
from this hospitality?
I'm trying to be even-handed here because I've sat probably on this very couch defending Conservatives in a similar position. I don't mind someone who's rich who decides to give money to a political party of their choice. The issue for me is he was given a pass to number 10 Downing Street without having a job.
Starmer and Reeves also attended an event sponsored by Lord Ali in London. Ali has given over £300,000 to senior party figures over the course of almost 2 decades. The ministry's failure to clearly explain the reason for the donation highlights the problems with ministerial ethics, especially given that Lord Ali received a pass to Downing Street. Voters are asking why Labour can't pay for its own lavish parties. Ministers should be honest with Parliament about the donations received from Lord Ali and their reasons.
It was a temporary pass. They cancelled it. I think they realised they'd made an error. But that's appalling. And if you've actually got a rich benefactor who says, I support the political project you're on, there's a whole load of money and I'm going to give money to Labour candidates as well, that's part and parcel of politics. But if that very person then gets special access to number 10 Downing Street, what on earth is going on?
Apparently, according to Bloomberg, he's still attending meetings. Why?
Well, that should again be put. That should be clear what his role is and what job and function he.
It seems that Keir Starmer will escape investigation for not disclosing that the payment for his wife's clothes, including the services of a personal stylist and fitting, was made by Lord Ali. They are trying to hush up the scandal. This revelation was a great embarrassment for Starmer, who promised to clean up British politics. Like all MPs, the Prime Minister is personally responsible. The existing rules are designed to ensure transparency in policy and prevent misconduct.
Sometimes I wonder and worry that British politics is a bit too hair-shirted, in that American politicians go round and lie about how rich they are. Right? They put a naught on the end of their wealth. They claim to be billionaires when they're only millionaires, whereas our rich people sort of try to pretend they're poor. I mean, I actually have to say our former Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, I think, for a number of his faults, did this quite well. He said, I'm unembarrassed about the fact that I'm rich. I'm from a family that's been successful, that's worked hard. I'm not going to apologise for it.
He was doing all this now, though.
But you get the sense that this is a guilty pleasure for our present Prime Minister.
During the meeting with Biden, Rishi Sunak looked somewhat awkward, trying to greet the American president with excessive enthusiasm. Biden, however, pushed him aside to say hello to other people. Some believe that Biden's gesture showed disrespect for Sunak. Are you wondering which of the US partners and allies are treated with respect? Biden may have deliberately suspended Sunak. Usually his mistakes are quickly corrected. They support him by the hand. They prompt him in the ear. Nothing like that happened this time. Biden warmly greeted everyone except Sunak, who found himself in an awkward position. Rishi Sunak is not the first and will not be the last to be humiliated by US presidents. But, for example, Merkel was spied on, Macron was publicly insulted.
I think the ugly good thing about this is that it throws the doors open to seeing how the brokerage of power happens in this level of operation. And this is what happens. Like when it's one hand washes the other. If somebody donates, they're going to want something.
Of course.
Then nothing comes for nothing. And if this is the extent of it, it is a very, very poorly thought out execution plan to have someone have a pass to number 10. I still don't know who his advisors are. I don't know what issue they have with just saying, like you said, if I used to buy it for myself, I'll still buy it now, because you would look better as a Labour government. But at the same time, it is nothing new under the sun.
Sue Gray has published her report on the social events held in Downing Street during the pandemic. Boris Johnson then apologised to the people, admitting that they had violated the restrictions they had imposed. However, the report did not provide names or details. Starmer accused Johnson of hypocrisy and demanded his resignation, claiming that Johnson would not leave because he had no shame. Now, the same can be said about Starmer. He is not resigning despite the fact that his behaviour has caused a wave of criticism and discontent.
It's an interesting, potentially anyway, psychological insight again into Keir Starmer, though, isn't it? How much in common with the working man and woman does this guy have? Okay. Well, if you look at his early life, I mean, anyone who keeps having to bang on relentlessly about the fact that their dad was a toolmaker implies to me that maybe they don't have that much of a working class pedigree themselves. Surely could come up with something. It was actually a bit fields of wheat territory for me to keep doing that. Well, his education was pretty good education. There's not too much working class around that. Certainly his professional career, certainly the things he's been able to do for his mum in the later years of her life, bought a 7-acre plot in Surrey, which she turned into a donkey sanctuary. It's fantastic.
Lord Ali, despite his long career in the House of Lords, rarely took part in it. Instead, he handed over more than £500,000 to Labour. It seems that he did not just support the party, but invested heavily in it. What do you think about this video? Write your opinion in the comments. See you.